Hello, I'm Matthew from Ludobox, and today I'm going to give you an overview of Honshu. Honshu is a card-laying game, and it's for 2 to 5 players ages 8 and up, and it plays for around 30 minutes. So in Honshu, we're going to play as provinces, and we try to make our provinces bigger. So we are going to do that by placing cards on top of our cards. So we build on top of and not on the side of, which is very important in the game. We are going to play cards, and these cards are made up of a few things. So you have different province tiles. You have 6 of them per card. You might have fields, lakes, towns, each with different abilities, also resources, sites, production and consumption, or forests, for instance. So that's the first thing that we can find on cards. The second thing that we find on cards is a number that you can find here on top and at the bottom of the card. And this is going to be used when you try to gather cards, because everyone is going to pick a card every turn, but you need to be the first. And to be the first one to choose the cards, you're going to play cards and try to be the biggest player in town. So basically, you choose the first player randomly at the beginning of the game. That player plays a card from his hand, and then everyone is going to play a card successively. So everyone is going to play a card, and then once it's done, you measure up who's the biggest one, who's first. So in this case, we have a first here with 56, we have 34, 29, and 10. So the first player is going to select a card among the ones that were placed. So that player can choose his own card or another card. So for instance, I might take this one, which is interesting to me. I place it, as I said earlier, on top, but I cannot cover entirely a card. I have to cover at least 1 square of the card. I can cover any number of squares up to 5, but that's it. You just place the card, and if you have lakes, you cannot cover lakes. Obviously, you cannot dig earth and place it into the lakes. So the lakes are going to be a bit more complicated to build around than the other buildings and terrains. When you place a card in your province that has resources production sites on them, you place a cube of the matching color on the card, and this means that you have a resource available. So you can consume resources for 2 things. The first thing is gaining victory points, but I'm going to allude to that in the end of the video. The other thing that you can do is increase the number of your cards. So if you play a card on the subsequent turn, you can spend a resource. So for example, I could spend this and place it on the card, and then it would award me with 60 points. So it makes the card very strong. The cards are numbered, they are unique, they go from 1 to 60. And this allows me to be automatically on top of the other players who didn't play a resource. Other players can play resources, obviously, but they have to match the resource I just played. So this is what we do with the resources. So you're going to play 12 rounds of getting a card, playing a card, shifting priorities, and then taking a card, placing it on your province. So you get 2 hands of 6 cards, and at 1 point in the game, when you have 3 cards, you pass the cards to your neighbor. So that's going to happen twice, and then at the end of the second phase of the game, at the end of the second hand of the game, this is the end. You count the victory points. So the victory points can be earned in 4 ways. The first way is forests. So some cards have tiny forests on them, and for each forest square you gain 2 points. That's flat and normal, easy. The cities now. So the cities are a bit different. You're going to count the biggest city in your province, and for every square in the biggest city of your province, you're going to have 3 victory points. So for example, I have 3 cities here in my little province, and one of them has 2 squares and the other ones have 1 square, so I count only the biggest one, so I get 2 points. Then we have the resources I talked about earlier. So there are some sites that consume resources, like this one, and if I have the matching resource at the end of the game, I place it on top and score the victory points. so between 2 and 4 per site and per resource I gave, and I can give only 1 resource per site. And finally, the lakes. So I told you that the lakes could not be built upon, and there is another rule for the scoring. So if I have only 1 square of lake, it's not a very beautiful lake, it scores nothing. And then for every square of lake, I get 3 additional points. So the first one is worth nothing, the second one is worth 3. Then if I place a third, I have 6 points total, and if I place a fourth, I get 9 points. So it is incremental. So these are the 4 ways to score points, and the one with the highest total is going to win the game. Additionally, you can add a card, you can select it or just pick it randomly, and it's going to give a 5th rule. So for example, this one is going to allow you to score more points for the fields. So the fields usually score nothing, and in this case, if you make a square of 2x2 fields, you get 5 victory points. So it allows for a different route gaining victory points. That's it. You know almost everything about Honshu, so bye-bye, and see you on LudoWorks.